Why Taekwondo is effective in a street fight. One very popular question people like to ask is the usefulness of a particular martial art in a real fight. Considering how popular Taekwondo is among all genders and age groups, alongside its standing as a sport in the Olympics, it's usually considered pointless. But the truth is that people with this point of view have missed the whole point of this martial art: fun, fitness, and self-improvement. This particular martial art has always been known to be one of the most practiced and most popular martial arts, which has been the case for a long time now. In today's video, we'll be looking at how and why Taekwondo is effective in a street fight and how it can be used for self-defense when situations arise. So sit back, get comfortable, and enjoy. Unlike most martial arts, Taekwondo doesn't have an age limit, so people of all ages participate in it. It's also a very flexible martial art, which explains why so many people are more willing to learn it, but that isn't the only reason. Another will be that there are no gender restrictions, as people of both genders can participate. This martial art is often considered a type of exercise that helps keep the body moving and stay fit. However, I think you'll agree with me that it isn't exactly the reason why most people learn it. Instead, most people learn it so they can defend themselves when the need arises. And the truth is, Taekwondo is actually the best form of self-defense you can learn today. History. However, many people still question how effective it can be in a street fight. And most of these people are very interested in getting answers to their questions. First, let's take a trip down memory lane to get more detailed knowledge about how effective Taekwondo is. This Korean martial art dates back to the Second World War in 1953. At this time, it was used as a combat style by soldiers, which explains the ton of self-defense moves seen in Taekwondo, and was also seen as a method of kicking and punching. If you pay attention to someone using Taekwondo in a fight, you'll notice an impressive use of the legs and punching in their style. And just like many other martial arts, this Korean martial art involves several methods that can be used to disarm an enemy or opponent. And so if you've ever wished to improve your hand-to-hand combat skills, then learning Taekwondo will do the job just right. And that's what makes it the perfect art for self-defense. In fact, as you'll imagine, the technique was beneficial to soldiers to defend themselves, especially when they had no weapons on them. Now, you would think that just because there weren't weapons involved, it wouldn't be a dangerous battle. Well, you haven't been more wrong. When using the techniques in Taekwondo to fight, a very deadly force was required. Now, what does the present or relatively modern Taekwondo look like, you may ask? That brings us to the end of our little time travel and back to the present day, where we have two central international organizational bodies, while the art is presently made up of two different styles. Founded in 1966, the first is called the International Taekwondo Federation. This first style, compared to the second, which we'll be looking at in a minute, is relatively more practical and emphasizes self-defense, which can be very useful in defending yourself in a street fight against bullies. Later, in 1973, we got the second style, the World Taekwondo Federation. Unlike the first style, this is a more classical type of Taekwondo, which is very trendy. Because of how unique it is, many people have shown so much interest in it. But that isn't the only reason, but also because it's the modern and improved Taekwondo, with its very flashy skills and several types of kicks. And ever since it became a big part of the Olympics, it's become so popular worldwide. It's, however, vital to understand the differences between these two styles of Taekwondo so you can know how effective they are in a real fight and be the best you can so you can defend yourself against bullies using the art and its techniques. It's a popular notion that the International Taekwondo Federation has more potential than the latter, but that doesn't change the fact that most people would instead go for the latter than the International Taekwondo Federation. The self-improvement aim of Taekwondo, this martial art has taken a drastic turn in recent times. If we're being honest, Taekwondo is the most effective way to defend or protect yourself in an attack without using a weapon. But if you really wish to learn Taekwondo as self-defense, you'll need to get an incredible teacher, because only then are you sure to learn all the techniques that can be used in a street fight. Especially when it's an emergency, there isn't any way out. Now, in the bid to save cost, you might have the thought of just going on YouTube to learn it yourself. But if we're being honest, that'll just be a waste of your time. You might think you've gotten the knowledge in that short 10 to 20 minutes, but the truth is, you could have that 20 minutes to look up the perfect master that could train you in all the required techniques. Style/techniques. You'll need to note that learning this martial art and actually mastering it will take a lot of time, but in the end it'll be worth it. And some of the approaches you'll need to learn in the course of your training will be blocking, balancing, and dodging. But aside from these, you'll also need to master several leg works involved. And one of these essential techniques that can be learned is sidestepping. This can be very useful in attacking the enemy or opponent swiftly and smoothly, and being the absolute best when surrounded by a number of opponents simultaneously. If this opponent attempts to put you on the ground and cover you, you can easily use the sidestepping technique to save yourself from danger, and to decrease or increase the distance between your opponent and yourself. You can easily but swiftly step out of the area. This is one technique Taekwondo experts use pretty often in fights. Another interesting thing is that this technique can allow you to deliver a knockout kick and prevent your opponent from causing any sort of damage. One more thing you can learn during your training that can be very useful is to block your opponent using your palm. If you can execute that properly, it can be very effective in a fight. And after successfully mastering it, you'll be able to block attacks easily. And there's the long-range kicks that can be very useful in staying at a distance and still cause a lot of pain for your opponent. Now, aside from the punch and kicks and blocks, it's also important to be mindful of the environmental aspects which make use of Taekwondo in a fight. Considering how fast these fights start off, it's important to be aware of your environment because it's a major factor in how these fights will end. You'll need to watch out if your opponent has backups around or if there are a lot of people around. All that said, it's very fair to say that Taekwondo is one very effective martial art for self-defense, and that's just enough reason to learn it. Well, that'll be all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Ring the bell notification so you don't miss an upload, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.